everybody, how's it going? Hope you're doing well and having a green day. Today is one of those days where I say to myself, man, am I glad that I taught myself how to day trade stock options for a living. Because I traded Apple and I made over $16,000 in one day. And that's a personal record for me. I've had countless days that are upwards of 1,000 or 2,000 or sometimes even $4,000 or $5,000 in one day, but this is the single biggest one day profit that I've ever had at $16,000 in one day. I'm going to put up the screenshot of my P&L and my profit right now so you can see it. I'm not going to go into the detailed ins and outs of every trade because I had a massive amount of contracts on today. I believe that at the most contracts I had throughout the day was like 75. That would take hours to go through every single in and out. But the point is, it was a great day. If you are somebody who is subscribing to my newsletter, you will remember that I sent out on Sunday. My recent newsletter was about Apple and about the conference that just kicked off yesterday. And so I want to talk about a couple of things specifically in relation to this trade. And this is going to be a bit of a philosophical video because I'm not going to talk about the technical ins and outs. I'm going to talk about the philosophy behind the trade, and I'm going to try to get into some of the whys of why I traded the way that I did and why I did the things that I did. And hopefully when I do this, it'll kind of make sense. There are two things that I want to talk to you about in relation to this trade on Apple today. The first one is something that I've talked a lot about in both my video course and in my book, which is sometimes you will be right, just not in the time frame that you expected to be right. And so what happened today is what I thought was going to happen yesterday. So I ended up being right, just not in the time frame that I thought I would be right. And that leads me to the second thing that I want to discuss today, which is don't get scared and stop out too early when you have a really strong idea of what you think is going to happen. And so how does that relate to the Apple trade and yesterday and today? Well, basically, for most of the second half of the day yesterday, I was negative and I was down. At one point in the day yesterday, I was down thousands of dollars, but that's unrealized. So I had thousands of dollars of unrealized loss yesterday. And if I would have been scared and said, oh my God, this is too much, I can't take it, I need to get out and cut my losses, I would have closed for a multiple thousands of dollars loss yesterday. Why didn't I close? Because I looked at the bigger picture and I put many different pieces of information together, and I thought about what was actually said in the conference yesterday and what it means for Apple. I'm not going to go into the specifics of everything that they talked about in this conference yesterday. You can find it online and watch the whole thing yourself if you want. But basically, it was some gigantic news that Apple released as far as, what's going to be happening for their operating system and the inclusion of AI into a lot of things and a partnership with OpenAI and just tons of stuff. And I had read and, amassed from multiple different sources that this conference that they did yesterday was probably the biggest one with the most news since the release of the very first iPhone, like over 10 years ago. So, knowing that, it seemed extremely strange to me that the price just fell and fell and fell all afternoon yesterday. And when I was watching price fall, I thought about this trade in the bigger picture. I wasn't fixated on the immediate time frame. Now, if I was fixated on the immediate time frame, it would have freaked me out. I would have said, "Oh shit, I can't take it. I need to close." And I would have sold for a loss. But in the big picture, I thought to myself, "Okay, it's Monday. That's number one. I've got 4 days before these options expire." That's the first thing. The second thing, this is supposedly the biggest announcement that Apple has made in 10 years or more. That's number two. Number three, how likely is it that price is going to continue to fall as hard as it fell yesterday for multiple days to come after that? I put those three things together and I thought it's very unlikely that for the next 4 days, the price on Apple is going to continue to fall as hard as it fell yesterday. I thought to myself, more likely than not, the situation is overnight, we're going to, plateau or maybe come up. And then I thought today at some point, we're going to take off and we're going to retrace and gain back all of those losses that we had at the end of the day yesterday and then some. And that's exactly what happened. So I was right. It's just what happened today is what I thought was going to happen yesterday. And it didn't happen yesterday, but it happened today. The point is, I stuck with my original big picture idea, which was this conference and this announcement by Apple is such big news that it's going to move the stock a lot. And I thought there's really no chance that we're just going to fall out hard the whole week after this announcement that they just made. And so because of that, I stayed in the trade. Now, if what had happened yesterday had happened on Thursday and not Monday, it's a lot more likely that I never would have sized in as much into my position as I did. Like I said earlier, I got in with incredibly large size. I mean, 75 contracts, that's a lot of contracts. And that's definitely more than what I usually trade in a single day. But you gotta pick and choose when you decide to get in. And although I don't like to focus on the news for the sake of news events, sometimes particular news events are actually worthy of really getting in fairly large. And that's what I felt about this Apple conference that kicked off yesterday. And that's why I was okay getting in with really large size yesterday. And then within the first few minutes of the day today, before we took off, I added in pretty heavily in addition to the contracts that I had yesterday. So like last night, I closed out with like 50 contracts that I held overnight, which is very risky. I mean, I'm not going to lie and try and say that it's not incredibly risky to do that. I know it's risky, but I had so much confidence in my initial idea being correct that I was okay with assimilating that much risk today. And then not only did I take that risk last night, I added to it with like an extra 20 contracts within the first couple of minutes of the day today. And then obviously it paid off with the biggest day that I've ever had. So, of course, this is not the way that you want to trade all the time. It's very, very aggressive. And I mean, I'm an aggressive trader in general, but this is even way more aggressive than I usually trade. But in this particular instance, I felt like it was worthy of taking on that extra level of risk. And so that's why I did it. That's it for today. You know, if you enjoyed this video or learned a little something, then please do hit the like and subscribe button. And of course, I have my book and I have my video course. And if you'd like to get those, you can get those. Just visit my website, lonewolftradingclub.com, to get the video course. And you can find my book on Amazon. And I will continue to keep on making videos whenever there's something new to report. So as always, good luck with the trading and see you soon. Take care.